What's up, Builders Club TV Nation? You got Dewan Jones here, your professional stay-at-home dad, and I am fired up and excited once again, family. We have a phenomenal guest for you tonight. This gentleman is extraordinary, iconic in this industry, has helped a lot of people in this industry that we love, that we call home business, network marketing, entrepreneur, business mentor, public speaker, motivator. We got John Malott on the show. Let me get myself on camera so I can speak to the family, address you, and as always, I want to tell you thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the information about what we're doing here with the Builders Club TV show. Continue to share this platform, guys. This is for the culture. This is so that we can continue to talk to top leaders in this industry, pick their brain, learn from them, try to get as much information as we can so we can further our business and further our journey along this mission to create success and freedom from home. So let's get John on the camera with us on the show. John, can you hear me okay, man? What's going on, John?
Nothing, man. Just hanging out on house arrest here. Global house arrest.
Man, it's interesting times, definitely, man. But the interesting thing enough, concerning our industry is that, we work from home anyway. And so I think this has given us the opportunity to really fine tune some of the things that we do working from home, man.
Yeah, man. For me, nothing's changed. I'm a lot busier at home. I'm getting a lot of stuff done at home. We truly have a home-based business, so we're able to do what we do. I've never been busier at home. The only difference is I'm not traveling.
We're excited to have you on this show. Anytime we have someone, that's created the type of success that you have been able to create in this industry, it's always good because we get the opportunity to pull our pen and pad out and learn a lot. So with that being said, if you've seen the show a little bit, John, what we like to do is we like to dig into the past of successful people in this industry because, we've learned there's so much to uncover when you look into the past of successful people and you start digging into their path and how they climbed their way to success. Would you agree?
No, there's no question. I always say your past does not equal your future, but your past definitely impacts, your future. It helps you make better decisions. I've made so many mistakes that hopefully, you bang your head against the wall enough times and you get a headache. Sooner or later, you stop banging your head against the wall. Without
a doubt, man. So, hey, with that being said, let's jump into it. I want to get some insight on your past. Can you tell us, man, first of all, what were you doing before you discovered the home business industry? What was life like for you?
What was I doing? I was committing crimes. I was running out the streets. I don't have all the things that society says you're supposed to have to be successful. I don't have a college degree. I don't even have a high school diploma. You know how society has a way of putting people in boxes, color, skin, gender. In my case, it was my lack of education. I ended up doing exactly what society expected from a 10th grade dropout. I found myself working at the General Electric plant as a custodial engineer. I was a janitor. I'm scrubbing another man's toilets. I'm working check to check, struggling to keep up with the big mouth promises I made to family, friends, and bill collectors. I was just getting nowhere very, very fast. And I was fortunate that, this profession found me, and, it was delivered to me in the sense that it was truly an equal opportunity. My first felony arrest, I was 15 years old, so I spent a lot of my teenage years locked in a detention facility. And then at 17 years old, the crack epidemic had hit our neighborhood pretty heavily. And by 17, I had a heart attack from smoking cocaine.
Wow.
Found myself locked in another facility, but this time going through a drug rehabilitation program. And it was in that program that a man saw more in me than I saw in myself. A guy by the name of Dave, who was a former outlaw motorcycle gang member, and he was the guy who convinced me that business was going to be my way out of my circumstances, my way out of my neighborhood, my way out of this broke down mentality. And he gave me a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that was the beginning of personal development.
Classic.
Yeah, didn't change everything, right away. It was a long process. 24 years old was my last felony arrest. Funny, I just put on Instagram. I was going to clean up my garage and I found the paperwork on, July 4th, 1992. was my last felony arrest. Last time I was arrested, and I was locked up, and it was sitting on that bullpen floor in the Milwaukee County Jail that I made a decision that I would not live this way any longer. So that decision was made on that floor, sitting there, and from that is when I really it was no longer 1 foot in the hood and 1 foot out, 1 foot reading books, 1 foot running wild in the streets. I made a decision that day I would no longer be that person. That's who I was. It's not who I am. And then it took me 7 years to crack my first $100,000 in this profession. And so it wasn't an easy ride. It was an interesting journey. I was very rough. It took a long time, a lot of cleanup, but with $100,000, I broke $116,000 my 7th year in the profession. My 4th year, over $200,000. Then it went to $1 million. Then it went to over $2 million a year. And we've had a pretty good run, man. It's been good.
Amazing stuff. Your first year, however, do you remember like what that was like for you, and the bang up experiences you probably had more than likely? What was your first year like in this industry?
My first year was miserable. My first full year, I made $4,000 that first year in the profession. I was just rough, man. I had no contacts. I couldn't speak very well. Not that I couldn't speak. I just couldn't articulate my feelings well. I couldn't put words together well. Every other word was a cuss word. So, my vocabulary being, what it was, and my mentality being what it was, building a business that required people, it was a very challenging deal. So that first year then became 100% frustration with myself. I realized that I was so far behind. And that was really, though, the beginning of a serious personal development journey. I realized that if I was going to, do better, I was going to have to become better. And so I really went on this crazy personal development journey. And so that's where it began. It was because I had a mentor that said, look, it's the books you read, it's the people you associate with, and the events that you attend. That's what's going to separate you from the rest. And I took that seriously. So, if there was a seminar or there was somebody that had what I wanted within an 8 to 12 hour drive, I would jump in my Pontiac 2000 two-tone, one-tone rust, one-tone dirt, and on faith, without having money, and a car that I had to name so it would start in the wintertime. I would go and I would wash up in public restrooms. I would sleep in my car. I mean, I was determined, man. I was determined to get out of that neighborhood. I was determined to change my circumstances. And the only way, that I knew how, or I was told how, was through personal development, reading books, getting around the right people. I had to change my associations. I had to change my environment. And of course, I told you, it didn't happen right away. I remember, later on, I wrote a book with Les Brown called The Power of One. And Les used to say, jump and the net will appear. And I used to joke around with Les Brown and be like, Les, man, I jumped and that damn net didn't show up. I bounced off the pavement like 15 times before any net ever appeared.
Right. Amazing stuff. I want to switch gears with you because, interesting times, like we mentioned earlier, but you discovered the industry years ago, probably a whole nother world in terms of how things are today. So I want to get your perspective on that. What do you think? Let me ask you like this. What's one thing you love about the industry today? And then what's one thing you like to see change about the industry today?
What I love about the industry, it hasn't changed. This part, the ability to bring freedom into your life. It's one thing to be able to make money. You can make money doing a lot of things, and I make money now in a lot of areas from that I'm invested in and things like that. A lot of passive type investments, but. So I love the fact that you can make big money financially, but the other side is the time freedom. There's very few places you can get time and financial freedom. Because I have a lot of friends that have a lot of money, but they have no time, and vice versa. I had a lot of friends that had lots of time but no money. They're not free. So this profession promises with time, with consistency, that you can be free, that you can earn an incredible income that will set you free, allow you to do the work one time and be paid forever on it. That's been a big deal for me. What What I don't like about what's it's turned into in a lot of cases, it's a lot of laundering money amongst friends deals, a lot of playing games, kind of this wink, wink, don't tell anybody, but we got this business, and there's the product doesn't matter. It's all about money, changing hands, and that's never a legit business. It's never a smart idea.
Right.
I'm always big on people first. I want to know who the people are. What is their integrity? What's their track record? Track record's a big deal. What have they done? What are they doing? What is that character like? And then the product. For me, it's people. Then it's product. I need to know that the product is impactful. It's relevant. It will withstand the test of time. That people would buy that product, whether or not there's a business opportunity attached to it or not. And then the process. I like a very systematic approach. Because a lot of amateurs are in this profession and they're just spinning their wheels, man. They just really traded one 9 to 5, one rat race for a new rat race.
Right.
Again, I'm always looking for freedom, so I need a very systematic approach so that onboarding, training, prospecting, everything I do is systematic, so that I can bring a school teacher in, and Sally, school teacher, she doesn't have to become a professional salesperson. She doesn't have to hound all her friends. She doesn't have to use these old school techniques. She can use a very systematic approach using, high touch, of course, but using high tech tools. That there's never been a better time to build business, period, than we have right now. Speed. Right now we're communicating through a platform that allows us to communicate on a global basis, right, for free. I'm talking to people in Australia and all over Europe and Asia for free using this tool. That wasn't available. That wasn't even available to Fortune 500 companies, 10 years ago.
Right.
So, yeah, there's no excuse, man. If you can't make it today, you can't make it. You're never going to make it. There's never been a better time. And I was retired, and because of all the tools and because of all the things and the speed that we have today, my mentor, say, give me 5 years. In 5 years, you can completely change your life. I think that time frame has been cut in half just because of the tools that we have, the high tech tools.
Right. While we have you, I want to ask you about this because, you're mentioning the times that we're in. Most people in the industry are still building the dream, still, hoping to get to where you've been able to get to in this industry. And so a lot of people are at home. They're not working. So they have a lot more time than they're used to having. So I want to get your advice. With all the time that people have now, more than what they're used to having, what's a few ways that we can really attack our business and really elevate things and really take advantage of the time that we have right now in terms of building our business?
Yeah, number one, this is the time to work on yourself. This is the time to, really figure out who you are. For me, I've got I reverse engineer everything. So whatever I'm thinking about, I got to get that on paper. I got to lay it out, whether it's in a goal, scenario. And then from those goals, I got to lay out the blueprint. I got to put together an action plan. I got to take that action plan and make a step-by-step daily method of operation from there. So right now is the time to do all that stuff. Figure out who you are first.
Yeah.
What is your risk tolerance? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? What do you want to become? Then find a good mentor. You got to find someone who's got a track record of working, from home, that has done it. I prefer to follow someone that is walking the walk, not just talking the talk. There's so many talkers out there, it's ridiculous. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they get a bad taste in their mouth about this profession because people use so much hype. They try to hype people up. They blow all kinds of smoke. That's not real. Smoke and mirrors, playing games with people's lives, and normally that ends in debt and desperation and frustration. Then people get mad at the entire profession. I'm like, look, it's not the profession. It's just a bunch of jackballs that are unprofessional and are trying to make a quick buck, and they're trying to, recruit people to make them rich. They don't give a crap about you or me or anyone else. They're focused 100% on themselves. And you can usually, you can weed those people out pretty quickly. You can smell commission on their breath because number one, all they do is talk about money. And to me, that's an amateur. That's an amateur that doesn't get it. There's a lot more, to the process. So I would say, your home, don't think you're going to, replace your full-time gig in 1 month being home if you've never built anything like this. I would say that, I teach people how to, replace their 50-hour week with 5 hours a week, but, you need some time to do that. I teach people how to replace their 50-year retirement plan after 5 years, of working with a consistent, very direct approach, a very direct way of doing it. And then, you know, you gotta learn the new school techniques, because there's still so many people teaching this old school crap that just doesn't work anymore. I mean, it's 2020 and there's still people using like Amway techniques from, you know, 2007. You know, so you've got to find the right mentors. You got to find the right people. You know, stuff like this. You know, having education platforms like what you have, man, to get people in front of people that really have been there, done that, and are having an impact, and are in the field, are in the trenches. You know, unfortunately, you got a lot of leaders too that have made a lot of money, but they're sitting on top of the whole deal, and they haven't done anything in the field in a decade. But yet, you know, the way the model is set up, you can make big money, you know, from what you did 10 years ago. But that doesn't mean you're relevant as far as your teaching. Doesn't mean you're relevant as far as, you know, smashing it in 2020. Does that make sense?
Man, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, man. And, you know, hopefully this won't be the last time we see you, man. We consider you family here on the Builders Club TV show. Maybe we can get you to come back and talk to us more about some of the new techniques that people should really take the time to learn, because you're right, man. You know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks sometimes, but in this industry, you got to be willing to evolve in order to take your business to the next level, man. And so hopefully we can have you back and talk to us more about that.
Yeah, man, I'd be happy to. I consult with a lot of companies now, and one of the first things I'll do is I'll get their leaders, you know, their top income earners in a room, and we start asking questions. That's how I realize, you know, you have so many top income earners that are still teaching stuff that doesn't work. When you grab someone today and you start, you know, telling them, you know, to go make a friends and family list, and we're going to call all these people, you know, it's always been a small percentage of people that would do that in the first place. Even when those techniques worked, it was still a small percentage, so you were leaving out a whole lot of people. But today we've got tools that allows the most fearful person, the most non-sales person, to really be able to build a massive business. Matter of fact, I prefer people that are not salespeople, that don't have a sales background, and really maybe are not interested in being salespeople. You know, I've done very well with school teachers and pastors and professional athletes, because we teach a very simplified approach, you know, to prospecting and not freaking their family and friends out and not harassing people. Because that's what a lot of people are, unfortunately, have the misconception that that's what we do, and it's so far from what we actually do.
Right. Yeah, man, we're going to have you back. I think that's one of the challenges that we have as entrepreneurs in this industry is what works? What should you be learning? Because everybody's teaching something. And like you said, there's so many people out there saying, hey, I'm the person you should follow. This is the system that you need to learn. Before we let you go, we like to play a game with you, John, that we've been playing with our guests. They've been killing it. The family's been loving it. It's called a word of advice with a mentor. And the way that we play is I'm going to shoot a few words at you, and then you just give us back a word of advice using that word, or advice based on that word. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. So if you're ready to play, I got the first word for you, and it's free.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Absolutely. The next word that we have for you is challenge.
Every day. That's one thing you can count on, you know, challenge and opportunity. The two go hand in hand.
Absolutely. The next word that we have is people.
Love on your people, man. Take care of your people, and everything else will work out.
Awesome stuff. The next word is system.
Necessary. It's the only way you'll ever be free.
Absolutely. And the very last word that we have for you, John, is goals.
Set them big, make them big. Think big. Big goals.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thank you for playing that with us. Absolutely crushed it. Incredible story. There you have it, family. John will be back. It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure learning about your story and just learning from you in general, man. We definitely are excited. And thank you for coming on to the show once again, man.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you.
There you have it, family. John Malott. We'll see you next time. Peace.